Dooney Backlund, 2 thumbs up.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Dave, Gaz, and Sam are here, and so are my 24-inch pythons, dude. And what you gonna do when the Monday Night Chores podcast runs wild over you? Ooh.
Kia ora, friends, and welcome to the 14th episode of Kenya's #1 wrestling podcast, the Monday Night Chores. Come join us as we delve into the head-to-head battle between Vince McMahon and Eric Bischoff, the Monday Night Wars. We watch each episode of Raw and Nitro and normally moan about the terrible commentary and ultimately choose which episode we thought was the best. I am your host, Dave Mack, joined by the rated R superstar of podcasting, Gareth Wadland.
How do?
And the slop drop of podcasting, Sam Wakefield.
Good evening.
How have we been doing, chaps? What's been going on with your week this week with wrestling? Sam, what have you been doing?
I watched a little bit of the Royal Rumble, bits and pieces last night. Dynamite, as usual. I'm confused with Dynamite at the moment and the Inner Circle business, but I'm not getting into that. I did watch some old Rumbles this week, actually.
Nice.
Bits and pieces. 2002 I watched.
Good choice.
Mr. Perfect makes a surprise entrance. That was nice. But more importantly than that, I've been playing Legend of Zelda on the GameCube quite a few hours a day. Oh, and I finished making my wooden boat, as I'm sure you keen-eyed Instagram followers.
I thought it was cardboard.
No, it's like balsa wood.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. There we go. That's pretty important on a wrestling podcast, Sam.
I thought it would be.
Gaz,
how about boat enthusiasts?
Have you got anything that's wrestling related you can talk about?
No, I did make a bike, though, out of chipboard.
An MDF paraglider.
That'll never work. Are you going to ride it? Is it a life-size bike?
Yeah. It's not. It's scaled 2-to-1, so it's...
Yeah, yours isn't a life-size boat, is it?
I didn't say it was. I just wanted to know if he was going to attempt to ride this bike or if it was just to go in his bike display
purposes
cabinet.
only. Yeah, only for display.
Next to all your dollies.
Have you watched any wrestling, Gaz?
Yes, I did. I watched some insane championship wrestling from 2015.
Nice.
With Grado versus Drew Galloway, who is now McIntyre.
Yeah. Was it any good?
Yeah, it was good. I just love his entrance coming out to Like a Prayer, Mama Donna.
Yes.
I think that's genius. That is brilliant. I could watch that just on loop.
The problem is with that is when he went anywhere else, he had to not use that music anymore, didn't he? And it
We went to
ruined
Impact.
the whole. It took away like 50% of his gimmick. He should have just got on a blower to Madonna and.
He tried to, didn't he? He put out a tweet. Yeah, tried to get her to approve it or something, but I don't think it went anywhere. But apart from that, what else have I watched? I think that's really been about. I think I watched a bit of 92 Rumble because I'm current. But yeah,
I love 92
really.
Rumble. It's my favourite Rumble.
Yeah.
It's the best Rumble, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good quality stuff. And
David, yourself?
Myself, I've been watching lots of WWE Network documentaries because I've managed to get the WWE Network in our bedroom. So, yeah.
Bet the wife's thrilled about that.
Yeah.
You whacking off to Total Bellas every night.
Anything with Alexa Bliss in, that's it. So, I thought this week we would start things off with a bit of WWF Raw out of our two choices. So we are coming from Richmond, Virginia. Your hosts are Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler. We open with a promo video.
Tonight, the Intercontinental title is on the line. The Dean had a proverbial cup of coffee as champion, backing into the title and in your house. Can the 15-minute chump take the gold back from the first time, 4-time champ?
steady on a bit, mate, there.
Well, his time's done, isn't it, in that case?
Yeah, pretty much so, I think, sadly. But we also see the Marty Jannetty challenging the 1-2-3 Kid, but he's got to get through Sid first. Plus, alarming comments from Shawn's doctor. At this point, I've written down, I am predicting now that Shawn's doctor will main event this episode. I almost guarantee that is what we'll finish the show on, because that is all we're here for, isn't it? So,
can I just throw out there that is this the best thing on Raw, the intro? Because with this one, you've got obviously Dean being called a chump, Sid telling Marty not to mess with kids, and poor Shawn is fucked in the brain. Is it drugs? So is this the best thing that they do now, Raw? Is it this opening segment? Is it sort of right up there on the top rated segments?
There's not much else to go on, is there? I mean, recapping what's happened, because not much happens in the actual episode, does it?
I didn't like it.
No.
I'm not a fan of big sad sad Vince over Shawn. And it's only going to get worse in this episode, and it's a pretty diabolical one. So
let's go for it.
Yeah, it's really sad and miserable. So what? I struggled this week with Raw, I'm not going to lie. We kick things off with the British Bulldog versus Bob Holly. Bob Holly's out one-on-one with the number one contender for the world title, and you can barely hear Vince and Jerry talking because they're trying to talk over the top of British Bulldog's theme song and the announcing. So it's just a big mash of noise, which really annoyed me straight from the get-go.
Bob Holly's wearing Hilton underwear. Is that right? Well, unquestionably going to be lots of surprises as there were on the Brother Show. Last week, he promised a great big surprise. Big Where's this week? How big? Oh, I can't tell you, but it's huge. Action and surprises galore tonight on Raw. Here we go. And here comes the British Bulldog.
But Bob Holly evades the Bulldog and puts him down with a slam and some clotheslines, and he starts working over his arm. 4 minutes in, Jerry tells us that Bret has never, ever beaten the Bulldog in a match. Which, interestingly, in WWF, they'd only wrestled at SummerSlam 92 before. They'd had dark matches back in 92, which Bret won.
They had tag matches.
However, I would say there's been lots and lots of tag matches.
British Bulldog versus Heart Foundation. Yeah.
Did you know that he beat Bret at Wembley? Because I've never heard this before. It's like a brand new bit of info that I got told.
So there was a show in Wembley.
I can't remember what year. I'm not sure if it was in the summer.
Must have just been like a dark match show type thing. Wish I'd have known about it. Actually, a very decent opener. I didn't mind it, considering the sort of quality of matches that Davey Boy's been putting on. Just kick, punch, slam, scream, sweat profusely, deny that you're sweating. Bob Holly, I would say, got a good match out of Davey Boy, not the other way around.
It was an interesting one because he went for his classic kind of stalling suplex, which Holly reversed into a small package for a close 2 count. We did eventually get there, and Bulldog hits it for a second time. Then we get a chin lock, and Bob Holly fights out of that. Bulldog hits him with a clothesline and a leg drop for a 2 count, but then Bob Holly kind of fights back with a drop kick for a 2. We get a 10 punch in the corner for a 2 count. Bob Holly eventually goes up to the middle rope, but gets caught in a power slam after 5 minutes and 8 seconds and loses. I thought Bob Holly had a decent showing here. I thought it was a bit weird, though, because this is your number one contender for the world title, and you putting him in a reasonably competitive match with a sort of jobber.
Yeah, it's not the ideal match to put Bulldog in. Oh, we're going to give you a 7-minute competitive match with Bob Sparky Holly. Didn't really seem to make sense. Talking about Bob Holly being in a stalling clothesline, I'm going to go off on a sidebar early on here. Have you heard the story about Al Snow and Bob Holly and the suplex?
Yeah.
You have? Out. Oh, that's just crack.
Ivan, go on, okay, Sam. Gaz. Tell me the story.
So, Al Snow didn't wear any when he turned into Al Snow, didn't wear any pants under his singlet. So Mick Foley put Bob Holly up to the task of getting him up in a stalling suplex and pulling the leg of his tights down so his cock and balls were exposed.
On telly?
No, on a dark show in front of loads of kids, like on a little spot show in a little town somewhere. And he held him up there for about 12 seconds, everyone just seeing his cock and balls hanging upside down.
Oh.
Yeah, wrestlers, eh? They just know
what's
appropriate for kids. Oh, get your dick out in front of 100 kids.
It's better than taking cocaine and stabbing each other.
Well, I do both, so.
What did you think, Gaz? Was you a fan of this one?
Yeah, I thought it was quite good. You had is it the best drop kick in the business? And he used to refer to that, old Bob, when he was Bob Hardcore Holly. I liked it when he got dropped on his spark plugs on the ropes by Davey Boy. That was a good move. But no, for an opening match on Raw, it wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. But I think they were doing it to fill time. When you're saying about why give Bob that much against Bulldog, because they've got to fill the time. They've got to fill it somehow. Who else are going to put out there? Fatu and the Brooklyn Brawler.
Just don't ruin it. But if we switch over to Nitro, we are in. I haven't written down where it's from. We are
Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona. Well, there we go. Gazzy's on the ball, isn't it?
With 9,000 attendance, but only 3,000 were paying. 6,000 free tickets. Boom. Some of that raw in your face.
That's because EB cares about the fans. So he goes through. You have to send your paycheck off. If you earn more than a certain amount, sorry mate, you got to pay. Ahmed Johnson's mum, she got him for free.
Sitting there wondering where her son is. Why isn't he on?
Yeah, she had a food token for a hot dog and a Coke.
I will say the first thing I noticed was the production values seem to have been ramped up again. There is so much lighting on the stage. There's like WCW lights going off. There's pyro.
The shot over the city, deal. I love that.
It's mad, isn't it? It's just
the helicopter over the city that you're in. I'd like to see that if they'd done that, a show in Malden.
I'd see it in London.
Here, as we come over Morrison's onto Poundland. Here's the town hall where Raw's coming from tonight.
I have to say that with Nitro, still loving that intro as well.
Yeah.
The explosions and everything about it. You're right. The production, it just seems so much better than Raw does.
It screams money to me. It's like we are throwing money at this and making it, and not in a bad way. Not like it's like we're throwing money at this to make it a good product.
It looks good, yeah.
So I always watch Raw first. I know you two watch one day and one a few days later. So I watch Raw first, then immediately afterwards I watch Nitro. And I do that because Nitro will give me that energy. It starts, they got Eric shouting at you, there's a chihuahua. It's just big, isn't it? It just feels big.
It's just insane.
It just gives me energy,
it's like being at a finger buffet, right? Raw's like the starter bit, and then at the end, the desserts, the nicer bit at the end.
I think you'll find Raw's steak and chips, actually.
Tells you how much you listen to him, doesn't it, guys? We have Eric, Mongo, and Bobby the Brain. Bobby Heenan's got his bag of Weasel wafers, which is like this bag of crisps with a ball in that rolls around that looks like an animal.
What was that about? What was that for? Do we know?
I don't know because.
So you missed that, Sam.
You missed it. It was. Just
I didn't know anything about wafers. I must have been picking my nose or looking out the window.
They mention it quite a lot anytime we go back to him because he's got that Pepe's dressed as an angel as well. With
I saw that. God, thank God for that. I'm watching the right episode. I thought he was going to go and Pepe's dressed as a fucking giraffe, and I'd be like, shit. I watched the wrong one.
Guys. The giraffe.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what Emily said to me today? Once I said to her, well, I ain't going to get time to do both, as in the cars and the podcast. And I've got to do the podcast because she's in it tonight. I started watching it and then Em sort of sat there and put her book down. She went, do you think like you could do the show and just not watch the shows and no one would notice? And I was like, no, because I think I said a few weeks ago, to be fair, like I barely need to watch it. I'll make a few notes and sort of go from there. And I was like, no. I'm not going out to wash your car and put stickers on it and then just try and wing 2 hours of wrestling that I ain't seen. So
when we go, Mongo's there with his pet Rottweiler. He's changed his dog. Oh yeah. What?
I'm
big
sure
dog,
your wife's
big dog.
Equally as supportive every week when you have to sit down and watch all this wrestling and then talk about it for 3 hours.
Anna loves it. I go and sit and watch it in a different room, so she just gets to watch whatever she wants on telly and doesn't have to see my face. So.
To be fair, Lauren, what she does, Lauren just watches along the episodes while we're talking about them. When she listens to it, so
someone's got a dedicated wife.
Live now or when it comes out?
She listens back, so she's all over it.
She listens to the whole show.
Yeah, she loves it. She loves you, Sam.
Everyone loves Sam.
I imagine she does. I would love to hear some of the shit that she must say about me after.
Well, if you go on Twitter, she's got a profile where she's a Korean living Canadian.
Oh, so she does love me then.
She's written a book about football.
Yeah. Well, she claims she has.
I was assuming it wouldn't. I just assume it wouldn't be good.
But back to wrestling. Eric Bischoff tells us.
Big news news here in the building. WCW Executive Committee flew in Hulk Hogan. They brought in the Giant. They brought in Ric Flair. They brought in half the legal staff. As of 48 minutes ago, officially, those three are on probation. They are all walking thin ice.
It's very specific, isn't it?
What?
I need to be on fucking Prozac.
Did anyone know what this was meant to really be about? What's probation in wrestling mean?
Well, I've been on it.
Sam?
Well, when I left the tattoo studio and worked for MenCap, you're meant to have a 6-month probation period where they decide whether they're going to take you on or sack you. My probation period went on for 2.5 years. Basically, because my manager kind of liked me, but HR kept going, you need to get rid of him. And so that's what probation is. Basically, we can get rid of you at any time. You're on your fucking last warning.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? And I didn't know what was going on. Bobby Heenan predicts that Lex will beat Randy Savage for the title tonight, so that's something to look forward to. Our first matchup is for the WCW World Tag Team titles, and it is my boys, the American Males, come out.
American Males making their way to the ring. And I'll tell you what, the big question remains here tonight. Can Lightning strike twice?
I think that seems a little bit unlikely, but we have Harlem Heat coming out and the American Males. When Harlem Heat come out, we just get Eric Bischoff talking over the announcer as well, and you can't hear a word of them. Then Harlem Heat start kind of like jaw-jacking, and you can't hear the commentators then. Come on, sort it out, WCW.
They need to know when to lay out, don't they?
Ladies and gentlemen, their opponents accompanied to the ring.
They're going to have their
by
opportunity
Sister Sherry from 110th
as we kick
Street
things
in
off.
Harlem,
Like
New
I
York.
said, tag team
The
action coming your way to
WCW
open things
World
up. But
Tag
don't
Team
forget,
Champions,
the WCW World Heavyweight title on the line tonight. Randy Savage, and it was just a week ago, he was on the receiving end of a vicious choke slam to the concrete floor. I've got to ask Randy Savage the next time I see him what is going through his mind, why he would agree to put his title up tonight against.
As we start the match, Stevie beats the ugly off of Scotty Riggs in the corner start, but a pair of drop kicks from Riggsy gets a 2 count. Stevie Ray puts him down with a side slam, but Scotty Riggs hits Booker with a forearm, and the Males clean house. Buff Bagwell with a sunset flip on Booker T for a 2, and the Males trap him in the corner, while Colonel Parker comes out to try and woo Sensational Sherry from the American Males. The commentators seem a lot more bothered about this than the crowd are.
Yeah, well, that's, I guess if the commentary were as apathetic and uninterested as the crowd, I mean, it would be a bit shit, wouldn't it? I think their whole job is to be like, whoa, what's going on? It just made me think Sherry's like a fucking magpie, isn't she? She loves shiny things, and she's out there. She's meant to be leading her boys to victory, and then an old man in a cowboy hat sort of goes, whoa, I've got a prize. I've got a little prize here. And she's like, what is it? Come back here. Just come backstage. Don't worry about him.
Did you hear what Mongo said about it, though? So he comes out for president, and Mongo goes, what's he got in there? A scorpion wrapped up from the desert. Yeah, because if you fancy someone and you want to give her something nice, give her a scorpion wrapped up in a box, you fucking idiot.
We don't know if he does fancy her, do we? Maybe.
No, the kissing and stuff doesn't give it away.
They was at a pay-per-view and he carried her off in his arms. Like
I kiss people I don't fancy all the time. My mum, I don't fancy her. I kiss her.
How can you not fancy your mum? Are you mad?
Your mum.
She ain't seen her recently. She's gone downhill. I mean, a few years ago. Whoa, don't get me wrong, but
that is true.
Not now. She's let herself go. A little point. Did anyone notice the spinneroonie here?
Yes.
Booker T did a spinneroonie as commentary just talked about something totally different. He did the spinneroonie and a scissor kick.
Colonel Parker eventually takes Sensational Sherry away, and Harlem Heat don't seem to really notice, other than Booker T sort of shrugs his shoulders a bit at her, and that's it. Booker T starts yelling at someone who's presumably a famous sportsman.
He is. AC Green from the Phoenix Suns basketball team.
So was he? He was a hometown sports person,
correct.
And they brought him out with a heel. Just confused me because
this is someone different. This is Booker T shouting at someone in the crowd.
Sorry. I was thinking about the guy who came out for Ric Flair. That confused the hell out of me because. Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll get to him. We'll get to Sir Charles of the Barclay.
This is a different sportsman.
I'll call midgets.
Yeah. We get a hot tag to Buff Bagwell, and he's a house of fire. Fisherman suplex on Stevie Ray, but Riggs occupies the ref, and the Harlem Hangover finishes Bagwell after 7 minutes and 48 seconds. And sadly, lightning doesn't strike twice. I thought it was an all right match. No, I mean, no one cared about the Sensational Sherry Colonel Parker stuff, but every time I see Harlem Heat, you just look at them and they're too good to be a tag team. They're huge. They make everyone look tiny compared to them. So, yeah, I was happy with this as an opener.
Yeah, I liked it. The commentary straight away from going from Raw to Nitro, despite that they didn't draw any lights for Spinaroonie, during the match, they were talking about the ring positioning of the athletes. They mentioned a potential injury that Stevie Ray had a bad ankle. They discussed tactics. They just kind of treated it a bit more like they were watching the match, whereas on Raw, it's just Vince McMahon shouting, Jerry Lawler making corny jokes. It's just quite refreshing, isn't it, to switch over and listen to guys actually talking about cutting off the ring and, you know, actual things that would be relevant to the match you're watching.
What's your thoughts, Gaz?
Yeah, I concur with everything there. I did get from that, though, that American males are not at all anywhere near being as over as they were even 8-10 weeks ago from all the boos when they came out. But Harlem Heat, I thought, were amazing. Looked great. As you've said, all the moves, all the looks. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, happy days. If we switch over to Raw, we get to see Bob Backlund. He put in JR in the crossface chicken wing
that was
at the weekend, which was weird, wasn't it?
That was a hard watch, wasn't it? I never liked seeing JR being involved. Maybe because I've read both his books and realised how much he hates it and he just wants to be a commentator. And Vince seems absolutely obsessed with going, oh, we'll get Mick Foley to stick his fingers down your throat, or we'll fire you live, or draft you to another show without you knowing.
That's it, or pretend to pull things out your arse.
It's when you actually had a life-threatening fucking... Yeah. And just seeing... Like, so we don't wrestle. We're not wrestlers. I mean, you could mistake us for wrestlers. But anyway. So you're not kind of used to that kind of physical factor being pulled. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you putting this guy out of his comfort? He looked genuinely terrified. And he was just in the hands of Bob Backlund thinking, oh, I just hope I don't die or break my neck.
We have Jerry the King Lawler is interviewing Bob Backlund. He's got a bit of a wonky tie on and Jerry sorts him out. Jerry says Bob's been chicken winging the plebeians. He says next week he has a match with Brett, but not for the title. And Bob goes nuts about this.
No title. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
God again. Hold it.
What did he
just
say?
Think, though, Mr. Backlund, just think what a win over the Hitman will do. Just think how it'll catapult your candidacy. No! I had dreams of being God again so I could reign supreme over all the plebeians and put them in the right frame of mind.
He's flipped.
You know what I'm talking about? Do you know who I am? Do you realize what I'm gonna do if these people keep agitating me?
Who knows what's going to happen?
What them people have done to me in the last year? Do you know how I feel? Hitman, you're just like those plebeians. We don't need more hitmen in our society. We need people. Okay, Bob. To be role models. Bob, we got to take a break. People, so those people can. Bob, we got to take a break. The seven standards.
Cut him off, King. We got to get out of here.
To be successful, we got to go to break. What?
Kill us, Mike.
We got to go to break. Are you trying to finite me?
What? Kill us, Mike. Let's go.
I'm talking here. I paid for.
Bob Backlund next week, non-title. Good. They killed us, Mike. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I've got You Must Hate This, Sam.
Didn't really give a shit, really. It wasn't like he wasn't running around in a chicken suit, or like he was just this crazy old veteran who's come back. No, I didn't mind it. It was who really gave a shit one way or another. Really, he's not gonna be any kind of a threat to Bret Hart, we would imagine at this point.
Has he ever beaten Bret before?
Beaten him?
Yeah.
Yeah, he must.
Well, yeah, 92.
Did he take his title off him? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
92.
But what I'm saying is, does anyone give a shit? The way they're presented, like, yeah, I know he beat him, but I don't care. Bret's on the up and up, isn't he?
Gaz, what was your thoughts on crazy old Bob?
Looney Backlund, 2 thumbs up.
It's got to be, innit?
I'm just doing a thumbs in the middle.
Well, you'll get plenty more chance to see Bob in this episode, won't you, to make your mind up on him. So we have Fatu versus the Brooklyn Brawler. We see during the break that Bob Backlund was going mental in the crowd because they cut his interview off. We have Vince McMahon, after 13 minutes, he's shilling us the Superstar Hotline. It's a pretty much a nothing match, this one, isn't it? Fatu and the Brawler.
Yeah.
Brawler uses his array of stomps to start the match, but Fatu makes a difference with an ace crusher and finishes with the flying splash after a whopping 1 minute and 20 seconds. So nothing to say on that.
Nothing. I've literally put Fatu versus Brawler where notes should be. I just wrote nothing match. I really wanted to put a note or something. Nothing was there.
Let me step in here, boys.
Oh, here we go.
The clinic.
The poor old sound engineer who Backlund's looking for is probably shitting his pants, having just seen JR screaming for his life as he got crossface chicken winged on the Saturday night, which is one way to spend your Saturday night. But also in the background of this match, you can see loads and loads of fans exiting. If you just go back and watch it,
can't blame them, can you?
On the hard cam, you see about 25 people get up and all just walk off at the same time.
Jesus.
Were they going to check on the sound man? They're like, oh, there's something going on over there.
Bob was
This match
chasing
is
him.
trash.
Yeah, they're going to check on JR. This match to me just felt, again, similar vein to the other one. Just a bit of time to fill. We got to fill 3-4 minutes, whack them out there. I mean, poor old Rikishi put a thong on and then just call it a day.
Learn to dance, mate. That's what. Yeah, that'll get you over. Yeah.
But yeah, bit of a meh, wasn't it?
If we switch to Nitro, we have Mean Gene in the ring, and the first thing I've written is, oh, please, God, don't be Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan. And thankfully, isn't it? Sting and Lex Luger.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from Phoenix, Arizona. Great crowd on hand. And Sting, you have asked the total package, Lex Luger, to join the two of us this evening as we talk a little turkey. The Holiday Spectacular Starrcade coming up on December the 27th from Nashville, Tennessee. You, the total package, and the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, are going to be involved in a triangle match. And I know recently you got the Nature Boy to say uncle. But what about this man? What's the story?
Well, let me give it to you, Mean Gene. I called Lex Luger out here tonight on national TV and in front of this unbelievable Phoenix crowd.
They are.
All right, yeah. Because I wanted him without Jimmy Hart by his side. Friendship is friendship, and you've been my best friend for 10 years. Jimmy Hart is the business part of it. I don't agree with that part of your life right now. But the other thing that I wanted to say is I think you stand a good chance of winning tonight and becoming the new World Heavyweight Champion. But one more but in this whole thing right here. That doesn't mean, Lex, that there's a big pot of gold waiting for you at the end of that rainbow, because coming up at Starrcade, I'm involved in a triangle match. And momentum seems to be going my way, and I think that at this triangle match, I'm going to pull off the win, which means I'm going to face you for the World Heavyweight title, possibly.
Let's not put the cart before the horse, Sting.
Hey, Lex is my best friend, but Lex, I got to tell you, just because you're my best friend doesn't mean that I'm going to be twinkle-toeing out there around you. I'm going to be coming at you just the same way I would be coming at the Nature Boy or anybody else here at WCW. That's all I wanted to say.
What's your sense of all of this, Lex?
Well, I agree with his predictions, because tonight I will become the next WCW World Heavyweight Champion. So you're right on the money there, old buddy, old pal. You are right on the money. But when we talk about triangle matches in Starrcade, let me tell you, when you get in the ring and I go in the ring, friend or foe, the same thing goes for me. No holds barred, that's the way it goes.
All right.
Fair enough.
Thank you,
Fair
gentlemen.
enough. Only time will tell. That's the bottom line. Woo! Yeah,
All right, let's get up to the ring, and the lanceman, David Pinzer.
And not a lot going on here, really.
Again, it felt to me just like another example of wrestlers saying a lot but not really saying anything.
You're fucking expert, Sam.
Yeah, I should know. I just don't think they get given a direction. I think they get told, you've got 6 minutes, go out there, have a fucking segment. Whereas maybe on the other show, it's a little bit more structured. So both segments make a bit more sense.
Yeah,
what do you guys think? Sorry, there's a triangle match. Is that a triple threat match?
They just don't know what to call it at this point.
Right. Okay.
I've got this written later because they call it the triangle match. They call it the trifecta match quite a lot. We've not invented the phrase triple threat.
I think the first ever triple threat match was the last showing of the Big Blue Cage, wasn't it? Did I say that?
You talk about the Big Blue Cage so much as well.
Wasn't the Big Blue Cage what your parents got you for that budgie when you were told not to talk about the BMX?
Yeah. There's a big green cage. I'm glad someone's listening.
I listen.
I think the first time it was called a triple threat match anyway was in WWF in the Attitude Era, beginning of up to this point.
Tell you what I liked about this promo. Lex using this line, old buddy, old pal, about Sting. I mean, that's along the lines of the old Suthering Succotash. Roman
he knows
Reigns
how to get around someone, doesn't he? Come on, old buddy. It's like he's trying to get a fag off of him.
But this was, again,
like, go on, mate.
Go out there, boys. Just say some stuff. But the bit at the end when they go off, Sting does his woo. He turns around to walk off. Then his music hits. He goes, "Oh fuck yeah, I'm in a match tonight." Forgot about that. Turns back round again and walks back.
Yeah, shit ton of pyro, and that's it as well, isn't it?
Sting, he may as well have jumped when he saw the pyro. What the fuck? Like, he was so unaware where he was meant to be. Sting looked small against Luger, though, didn't he? Look at Luger, just like stretched to the limit. Sting just looked soft
but
next to Luger.
I mean, Sting's promo was pretty average, but Lex Luger is woeful. He's just terrible, isn't he?
I'd rather have a good body and not be able to form a sentence. Come on.
You ain't got either.
Shit.
Drinking water then.
Hey, you ain't seen what's under this shirt. Boy.
Thank fuck.
Thank Jesus in Christ. We have Sting versus Kurosawa, and Eric Bischoff is talking a lot about Hulk and Rick being on probation during this one. We start off, Sting puts Kurosawa on the floor and they have a quick brawl, but Kurosawa starts working on the arm in the ring. Bobby says Kurosawa needs the Colonel here to interpret for him and telling him what the count is, which I thought, after last week we spoke so glowingly about how well they kind of represented the foreign Japanese ladies. I thought this is a little bit of a step back of like, oh, he's a
to tell him what the count for a pin, the free count.
No, and the 10 count.
The 10 count
because if I was in Japan and I didn't speak Japanese, I think I could just count along. Like if they're saying it in, I don't understand. Is 1 7 here? Does 2 stand to the power of 10? I don't know. I think like I can just go along in my own head, in my own language. Go, we're on 8 now.
Where do you think Colonel Parker was?
Right in Sherry.
I'll say, I've got down, was he porking Sherry in the back? Is that...
Absolutely.
Colonel Parker, is that the guy who gave Sherry the present?
Gave her the scorpion in the box,
I just know him as Tennessee Lee. That's Jeff Jarrett's dad, isn't it?
It's Colonel Parker, what are you talking about? Yes. If you're going to ruin the illusion...
There's no illusion here.
No.
Yeah, all right, whatever you want to call him.
And what was Eric Bischoff going about? We're in action when everyone else is paying bills.
Yeah, I noticed he said that. I didn't understand. Was that a dig at WWF?
Maybe Vince is behind on his bills.
Probably.
That's a really, really inside joke. If he's had a telegram of Vince's gas bill, yeah. He ain't got any 50p's for the meter. I'll chuck that in the show next week. And I reckon his house would take a lot of 50p's.
He's gone to the offie and he's gone, can I have a packet of fags, bottle of vodka and £5 gas?
Yeah. And then he's gone, I'm a £5 short. Fuck the gas.
Keep the gas.
I'm already on enough gas as it is.
Eventually, Sting fights back in this one. He hits a Stinger Splash and he finishes off with the Scorpion Deathlock. This was pretty much just a squash match for Sting to beat Kurosawa. But
I liked it, though.
I was going to say, I'm not unhappy about that. I like Sting looking good.
So my 2 takeaways from this is I found out that 1, it takes 14 pounds of pressure to break an elbow. Thanks for that, whoever told me that in commentary. And also Sting looks like a tiger. Like he's just been like to the zoo and someone's painted his face. I thought he looked really nice.
Can you get some sort of device which you can put on someone's arm and measure the pressure you're putting on it? Because I'd really like to put 13.5 pounds of pressure on Emily's arm. Just going, fucking half a pound away here. So you can get one, yeah?
Just look it up on eBay.
Amazon, can you what? Arm. Let me write this down. What's it called?
It's called an arm pressure breaking machine.
Pressure. Yeah.
Made out of balsa
wood. Surely every arm takes a different amount of pressure.
Well, find out for us, Sam. That's your job.
Or is it all arms across the board? Yeah. £14. That's it. Whether it's
if you did £15 of pressure, it wouldn't break because that'd be too much. So
whether it's Scott Norton,
it would unbreak if it was £15 of pressure.
It would just
14 or nothing.
Yeah.
We get a nice promo for Starrcade, and they point out it's an invasion from the land of the rising sun, as this is their pay-per-view with New Japan. If we switch over to Raw, we get Doc Hendricks saying he wants to interview Shawn Michaels, but we go back to ringside because Bob Backlund has found that sound engineer and is crossface chicken winging him and chucking him around. And we go back to Doc Hendricks just to discover that Diesel has accepted Owen Hart's open challenge at In Your House. So that was nothing.
Okay, two things on that. Why and who cares?
Yeah, this is what I thought.
What are we telling? What story are we telling here?
I thought after our kind of cool Diesel promo a couple of weeks ago, it seems that we're not really doing anything with that, lads. So.
The story is we've got two wrestlers and they're going to have a wrestling match.
Yeah.
One said, if anyone wants to wrestle me, let me know. And then another one said, I'll wrestle you. And he went, all right. And then they're going to wrestle next. That's storytelling. Yeah.
You should be a booker.
Show. Yeah.
All right, Vince. We come to our Intercontinental title bout between champion Razor Ramon and Dean Douglas. According to the Wrestling Observer, this match was a dark match, which they taped, and they just decided to repurpose it as a TV match for
I wish it had
an
been.
unreason.
So there's a little bit in this, sorry to cut you off there, Dave, as Ramon comes to the ring, and by the way, he looks amazing on his way, just as he gets up onto the apron, you just see Jake in the crowd throwing Ernie at him. Someone throws something at him. Yeah, I'm going with Jake with an Ernie. That's
I reckon he was in America in 1995 on his own. Just
what was he doing?
Basting up.
Where was he then, Sam?
11 years of age. That was it.
Gandalf's Ride, learning to mix, and probably putting some trucks on his board. I don't know. Didn't know him in 95.
So he could have been there then.
Yeah. So
that's what you're saying.
Text him, Sam.
I'm saying he wasn't there. Okay. I'm just saying.
We get Dean Douglas starts off, he attacks and uses the Intercontinental belt as a weapon, but Hubner stops him from doing that. Razor catches him with the sack of shit slam and puts him on the fling. The sack of shit slam.
Before that, can I just say that they have a face-off. Douglas slaps Ramon round the face and he drops his toothpick. He picks his toothpick up, throws it in Dean Douglas's face. Then the bell rings. Quite clearly, ding, ding, ding. Razor Ramon's next move is to turn his back on the guy who's just slapped him and lean over into the corner. So Douglas attacks him, and then Vince goes, "Oh my God, he's attacked him! I can't believe he's done this. The bell hasn't even rung. The bell had rung, and why are you turning your back on the guy?" And then,
well, we know why. He's gone to pick that Ernie up.
Oof!
Can't leave that in the corner, can you?
Yeah, that's Razor Ramon.
I also noticed that Razor Ramon's got a pretty rubbish waistcoat on tonight. I didn't think it looked all that good. It looked more like Big Break rather than...
I was going to say, maybe we've been playing snooker.
Yeah, that's it. We come back from a break and Razor Ramon has Douglas in an armbar, but Douglas sort of takes control and starts working the back over. We see that Razor Ramon's got a bit of tape with Shawn written on it around his boot as well. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't believe it. And that is...
What do you think that was?
Well, I would have thought, as this was like a dark match that wasn't initially going to be aired, that's the sort of stupid shit that the Click used to do, I guess.
So I thought he'd put on Shawn's boots and his mum had wrote his name on them, and he's picked up the wrong ones.
Ramon comes out of the assless chaps.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. It's so
I'd love to see Ramon in assless chaps. That's a T-shirt.
It's so nauseating, isn't it? Like hashtag praying for Shawn. Like the guys are not. It's just ridiculous. I felt like this match, we haven't seen Dean on TV for a few weeks. I feel like he's already sort of basically on his last legs, and this match is just for Click bringing him out to put that final bullet in the back of his head and see you later. Well, I might be wrong. He might be on every show now for the next year, but
no, sadly not.
It felt like it was just his final burial.
Vince notes that Dean is having some back issues of his own during this one, and that's a legit injury. He has got an injury which pretty much brings his career to an end at WWE. He has 2 more house show appearances after this, and then he's gone. So this is the last time we'll see Dean Douglas.
Luckily, Paul Heyman didn't give a fuck. Or was that before this?
I think he went back to ECW, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a shame, really. A good gimmick that he could have done something with, and he was a good wrestler.
He can talk as well. I mean, he talked rubbish, but he could deliver it well. It's better than...
Generally acknowledged that the guy could do everything, and he's like one of those people who it just sort of passed him by. And I think most infuriatingly, he didn't screw it up for himself. It was out of his hands. I can understand when a guy comes along and he abuses drugs or he doesn't turn up to shows, but as far as I know, he sort of done everything he could, and Shawn and his mates just went, meh.
Don't fancy it.
Can't work.
Where, it's a shame because there's a lot of potential there. We come back from a break and Dean Douglas is up top. He goes for a flying body press, but Ramon rolls through for a 2 count and then just pretty much out of nowhere decides he's going to hit the Razor's edge, and 1, 2, 3, that's it. Razor Ramon wins after 6 minutes and 27 seconds. Not really a lot to see here in this one either, was there?
Well, that match to me was a lot of hype, but very disappointing.
Yeah.
It's a shame because, I thought
it'd be quite a good feud, Ramon versus Douglas. That'd been a good couple of matches out of those if they let him work and do the things we know he can do. But yeah, it just seemed a bit.
If we could have just had Shane Douglas just for straight kick-ass wrestler, that would have been better.
I still think the teacher gimmick could have worked in a way. I think they could have done something with it, not as ham-fisted as it was at times. But
well, they went back with Matt Striker, didn't they? A few years later.
Yeah, it's a different time then, I guess.
Different time. Teachers were more acceptable.
Not nowadays. Don't do anything, do they?
Hate teachers.
If we switch over to Nitro, we get a WCW Saturday Night promo, and then whoop-bam! We get Scott Flash Norton out, and they talk a lot about his wrestling background, and out comes his opponent, the Giant.
Before we get into this, we got-sta. That's right, I said got-sta. Watch a Saturday night. WCW Saturday night.
How random and good do the matches on WCW?
They just look like they've stripped away all the bullshit and they've just gone, let's just put on 4 really good matches and we'll just go match.
Yeah, I think, wasn't this one like Eddie Guerrero versus Big Bubba, isn't it? It's Boss Man, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
like the main event. Maybe it's like rose tinted, the grass is always greener type thing. You're just stuck watching this and then you go, they show you all these other matches, and you think, I'd rather watch that now.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You mean you didn't like watching Scott Norton in his funky new gear coming out to fight the Giant?
Was that new gear?
Yeah, of course, because he's Flash Norton there, giving a bit of colour.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed that. Even I put that down.
Yeah.
I'm more au fait for Scott Norton in later, as we go on, who just has a black singlet with a brick wall printed on it. Wait till you see that. That's fucking...
Get it from like Poundland.
Don't know. It's not real bricks. It's just printed on there.
That'd be a good gimmick, wouldn't it?
Do you get them in Poundland where you live?
No, don't go out.
Not true. No one does.
Pound stretcher where I am, in it. So we have Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan here. Sullivan's still in his sort of Hogan yellow and red. Why is this still a thing? Because Hulk Hogan's gone back to wearing yellow and red. So why is Sullivan still doing this?
I don't know. He's a fucking idiot. And it starts to make me think, if you were a Satanist and in some sort of a cult or whatever, would you go to like a seamstress and go, right, what it is, right, is I want a big yellow robe with a hood and like lightning bolts on it, and I would just sort of try and be like a normal looking person and then sort of secretly do my cult business.
Sullivan's more up front.
Problem is, though, he's rounded up all the loonies, isn't he? He's got a zebra and a shark and a giraffe in his gang. So
people need to know who the leader is, don't they?
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah.
But
got to stand out.
I have to agree with Sam, though. I just saw that. When he come out, I just thought, oh, fuck you, Taskmaster. Just, no. Oh, fucking hell, no, please.
I don't need to see it.
No.
We start the match with the Giant unleashing some clubbing forearms and he slams Scott Norton. But then Scott Norton atomic drops the Giant. I thought that was amazing.
That was very good. Yeah, I like that.
That was really good. 24 minutes in, Mongo tells us...
Did you see him come off the ropes while ago and bounce off the Giant like Pepe off the rocking chair?
What does that mean?
Move on.
Just Mongo, yeah. 25 minutes in, Eric says...
Well, I tell you what, we say it all the time. This is where the big boys play.
We don't say it all the time, Eric. You
We
say
used
it all
to
the time.
say it all the time as well. Now it's not so much.
Yeah, just every now and then when we can bother to remember.
Bobby also says, this match could go on all night with these two. Literally as the Giant catches him and chokeslams him and the match ends. I know you can't I mean, that's just bad timing, but it just made me laugh. These guys could fight all night. Oh, no, it's over.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. I thought it was a bit weird because we had a lot of situations where they were just sort of wandering around, not really knowing what's going on. The Giant trying to sell, not very good. But I'm a bit annoyed because I like Scott Norton, and I feel like they've been building him up a few weeks, and he looked really strong, and then they've just sort of fed him to the Giant on a random Nitro for no real reasons.
Yeah, he does have better days coming.
Yeah, but
if you're going to build him up as a powerhouse, why put him in there with a Giant who's 7 foot tall and 600 pounds, and his whole thing is to be the bigger, stronger guy? It doesn't make sense, does it?
I think it's about stepping up of the Giants' competition. Like when Brock Lesnar first came out, he sort of smashed through some smaller guys, and then all of a sudden they gave him like a 2-on-1 match against both the Hardys, and I remember that's that first time like someone started getting the better of Brock Lesnar, albeit it was 2, and then cut down. So I think it's not so much about Norton here, it's just about like, okay, let's put him against someone that the people might perceive as a bit of a threat.
Yeah, I can see that point, I guess. It felt disappointing because I like Scott Norton, I guess.
Scott Norton was never going to win, was he? Or,
no chance. Wasn't.
But the thing is with the Giant, they could have booked him as this massively unstoppable force of nature. And he could have gone in this. Oh, okay, you would never have given him the belt because who's going to beat him to get? Okay, apart from Hogan, so that kind of goes against what I'm just saying. But you could have booked him to be this sort of unstoppable, as I said, killing machine that goes around and can't be pinned. But yeah, at least Kevin Sullivan didn't talk.
Yeah, so. Neither did Jimmy Hart, thank God. If we switch over to Raw, we have a promo for Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund next week. And then we have Brother Love. And I was immediately annoyed by him turning up again. And if it gets even worse, out comes King Mabel, who's being carried by what can I assume are superhumans, because he looks massive at the moment. Brother Love says someone is missing. Mabel fluffs some of his lines saying he's missing Sir Mo. Love hypes the casket match between Mabel and The Undertaker at In Your House. He says he was the first person to pin the Taker and he'll be the first person to stuff him in a casket, obviously. Love says he has a surprise for Mabel. Mabel doesn't like surprises. We get the gong and a huge casket comes out, and whoever pushing it seems to be having real issues getting this casket down there. The person pushing the casket is revealed to be Mo, to literally zero reaction, as if anyone thought it would be anyone else. I
probably couldn't see him, to be fair, because all the lights are off, and they went, "Who is it?" And it took a while before I was like, "Oh right, okay, it's his crappy little partner."
Yeah, he couldn't unmask himself that well. It was just bumbling.
He got stuck going over some cables, didn't he?
Yeah,
that's where the carpet rolled up, didn't it? That was what it was when he was getting pushing it down.
We've all been there, haven't we, lads?
Yeah. Very un-druid, like he sort of.
Yeah.
Your trolley gets stuck at Asda.
Oh no, it's awful.
The casket's revealed to have some custom paint on it for Mabel, and it's got the Undertaker's name plaster all over it for zero heat. Mabel keeps talking about love, and there'll be no love for the Undertaker.
No, he said love.
It was just, after last week's Brother Love segment, another one, I'd had enough of this.
Mabel wasn't taking this seriously. He didn't probably want to be on the mic. I get the feeling he was one of these guys who was just happy to have a job and probably didn't really want. Do you know what I mean? Like,
he was young though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but and the Brother Love thing is just so like, I really get the feeling that Bruce Pritchard feels like this character is like him. It's shit, isn't it? We can all see it's shit, but I can get the feeling that he thinks he's really sort of like transporting himself into doing some serious acting. It's just hard to watch.
Yeah, not winning me over this one.
I thought it was poor, piss poor.
Yeah.
Piss poor.
No good.
For Gaz Wadland, piss poor. Seal of approval.
Mm-hmm.
Stamp.
Pissed on by Gaz. That's the new thing.
Yeah.
If we switch to Nitro, we come back to Mean Gene again, and out comes Ric Flair. And this time he has got Charles Barkley with him. So go American sports.
And I'll tell you what, Nitro's so hot, you don't ever know who's going to show up. This is, like I say, where the big boys play.
They missed an opportunity here. Why didn't they get him to sing his hit single? I mean, I just think you brought the guy out. He may have...
Good old Niles Barkley reference in there. Yeah,
fuck you too. It missed an opportunity there, didn't they?
Mugs.
They did.
Mean Gene asks if Charles will be Rick's new partner, and Charles goes to talk, but he shushes the crowd. But he starts corpsing a bit, doesn't he? He's laughing, and he can't quite do this, can he? He can't quite work out if he's being face or heel with this one.
It's what I went to say earlier. He's a sports guy, and he's probably used to being cheered. He's come out of Ric Flair, because Flair's probably just met him in a bar somewhere before the show and gone, just fucking come on Nitro with me. And he's being booed, and he doesn't know what to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this place absolutely coming unglued. Sir Charles, does this mean anything? Do we see in the future a new tag team partner for the Nature Boy?
I tell you what. Hey.
And he's home. Are you the new tag team partner for the Nature Boy?
I could never measure up to the Nature Boy, but he is my man no matter what any of these people say.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what.
Wow.
Sir Charles, I don't want you to go away because Ric Flair, this is not the first time the two of you have run the streets of Phoenix.
What we've done is Nitro has pulled up in Phoenix. Sir Charles and the Nature Boy are going to tear the town down. And right now, on Monday, Nitro, the greatest basketball player alive, is standing.
How about that, Phoenix?
Standing next to the Nature Boy.
I'm going to ask you, Sir Charles Barkley, what do you think of the reception for World Championship Wrestling here in the Valley of the Sun?
Well, we have the best basketball fans in the world in Phoenix. And we got the best wrestling fans, and y'all better appreciate the Nature Boy.
All right, very quickly before I get you out of here, Ric Flair, triangle match at Starrcade, Sting, Luger, and yourself.
All I can tell you from now on, Hogan, Sting, Luger, Savage, you better not jump on the Nature Boy anymore, because Charles Barkley may just walk away from the NBA and become a horseman full time.
All right, thank you, Charles Barkley, Phoenix Son of Nature Boy, Ric Flair, Eric Bischoff. Let's get back to you.
I've just got this felt like a bag of nothing. Nothing really happened, and it's like WCW got someone famous. I know Charles Barkley's like a famous basketballer from around that time, but they had absolutely no clue what to do with him.
Gets eyes on the product though, doesn't it? He's very good at that, Bischoff. I'll give him that. Getting AC Green in the crowd, Charles Barkley coming out. I mean, obviously, as we know, foreshadowing in the future, Dennis Rodman and is it Karl Malone they have as well, don't they, with DDP? They were good at getting all the celebs in.
You've got Mongo. You've got Mongo there straight away.
Mongo, yeah.
Without being funny, I mean, he's a big name there, so it's whatever's going to get people to watch. The only thing is they don't really seem to have any idea what they want to do with these people when they get them there. So it's like getting a new toy and being like, I don't know how it works or what to do with it. So
yeah.
If we switch over to Raw, we get Vince hyping up the Raw Super Bowl on New Year's Day, the Raw special. Do either of you know anything about that episode?
Nope.
Nope. The Raw Super Bowl episode. It's New Year's Day. We've got it coming up. You don't know anything?
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm going to
brilliant.
Watch it like I don't know.
Can't wait. It's an absolute shit show. Brilliant. We have Sid versus Marty Jannetty. It's like old man shouts at a cloud. He's also gone insane.
Who did you say he was having a match against?
Marty Jannetty.
Petty Jannetty.
Thank you, Gareth. Petty Jannetty.
Don't get Sam's shit over.
I'm hoping by the end, like by the time we're a year in, every wrestler, we've got Yoko Ono, Petty Jannetty, every wrestler we're not going to call by any of their actual working names. So someone will tune in like a year's time. And they're just not going to know what the fuck we're talking about. We've got Petty Jannetty going in against Big Bird, and Yoko Ono does a run in, and then fucking Sexy Michael Lex. Jackson, he's backstage doing a segment.
Jerry the pedo.
Yeah,
it works.
Everyone will know who that is.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't you, if you were Marty Jannetty, shit your pants if you saw Sid coming down to beat you up? Because Sid looks like a proper nut job.
Yeah,
I love that thing he does where he just squints, doesn't he? And sort of goes,
I think he's
like,
just confused.
fucking hell, it's fucking going to blow.
I like this bit where Jannetty goes on his tiptoes. Just
you
it's
know,
my favourite bit there.
I hate that. He does that with his arm. I think he was auditioning for the Repo Man.
He did look like a really shit Ultimate Warrior cosplay.
Yep.
What, Jannetty?
Yeah.
I love Jannetty.
No one loves Jannetty, Dave.
That market had already been cornered because the Ultimate Warrior was already a really shitty Ultimate Warrior, and then you had Renegade. There's no room now for petty Jannetty to get in on the act.
I think Jannetty top trumps them both. Did you spot Barry Nadinsky, who was flogging us some cardboard cutouts of the Undertaker?
7 foot tall cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, because he's only 5'8".
He said, imagine having one of these guys in your house. Gareth, what would your wife say if you had one of these in your house?
She'd probably just go, "Oh, more crap for the house." Yes, it is.
Well,
did you pay for that tat?
I actually asked Emily, wouldn't that be the bollocks to have here in the little game? Nope. Flat out no.
Not even a diesel.
I went to get my phone out to unlock it and she just smacked it out of my hand and said, I fucking said no. I went, all right.
Cowering in the corner. At 32 minutes in, Jerry says,
I don't mind the guy beating me up, but I don't like him to talk to me while he's doing it.
So do either of you have a preference? Do you just prefer being beaten up, or do you like people talking?
We all like what we like, Dave. So each to their own.
That's what makes us beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't mind a bloke talking to me, but I don't want him to beat me up. That's my motto.
There was a nice somersault neck breaker by Petty Jannetty in this on Sid. That was a good move.
Where was that? Where Jannetty did a somersault and broke his own neck?
Yeah.
And he just went, "Oh yeah, that was a fucking somersault neck breaker."
He done that twice as well, because that's pretty much the only time.
Thinking I'm dead.
Yeah, Marty knows his deal. He's got to throw himself around like a lunatic. We get Sid with a chin lock, and he tosses Marty around and fires him over the top rope like he's being shot out of a cannon. Outside, the $1 Million Man attacks Marty, but he confronts Ted DiBiase. The 1-2-3 Kid comes out, and what a surprise, Razor Ramon comes out after 7 minutes and 11 seconds. This one kind of gets thrown out. The 1-2-3 Kid runs through the crowd, and Razor follows him. It was kind of weird ending, because we go back in the ring, and Sid just power bombs Marty, and my boy Marty Jannetty can't catch a break, can he?
No one had any heat, not Sid or Jannetty. I noticed that Jannetty had a few boos, and the only time I really heard any kind of raise in excitement or anything close to a pop was when Sid would, sorry, I've got to get it out, otherwise I'm just not going to be able to talk. When Sid hits a power move or stops Jannetty in his tracks, Jannetty's just bouncing all around, and then eventually Sid just goes, throws him. That's the only time the crowd sort of went, yeah. But then once that stopped, Sid's momentum stopped. He didn't have any support, or he was meant to be a heel, obviously, wasn't he? But people are starting to like him.
Yeah, I've just written down both of them look like chumps at the end of this, because I think Marty got thrown around a bit too easy, and I think Sid still sells too much.
And poor old Marty was obviously worried about going in against Sid. What was the one thing he asked Razor Ramon before the match? Just keep a lookout for 1-2-3 Kid for me. It's as bad enough as it is, but just don't let him come and cheat me out of a victory. You had one job, Razor. One fucking job.
Gaz, what was your thoughts? Is it highlight of the night?
I thought it was far too overbooked at the end, with the Benny Hill scene of 1-2-3 Kid being chased. I mean, if Bob Backlund had jumped out and cross-faced chicken wings one of them, that would have been brilliant. But
brother love.
Yeah.
I never get for sort of continuity behind this. So the character on TV has said, don't let this guy come and interfere. Make sure you stop him. Then Razor went, okay, buddy. Then walked back into his own locker room, shut the door, and just sat on the chair and was like, well,
kids like it fast.
Why didn't he just stand by gorilla position or go to ringside, watch a monitor?
Remember, all right. His mate Sean's not very well, so he's probably not thinking about the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah, he's got Sean laid out on the physio massage couch, and he's sort of laying wet flannels on Sean's head, going, "It's all right, mate."
Playing panpipe music in the background for him, relaxing him.
Yeah.
Why do they as well? They seem to have this thing. They make Sid look like a chump. They book him like a complete moron every time. For a guy that's got what I would have assumed to be Vince's look and the appeal that what Vince goes for, as we've spoken about before, these big 6'5", 6'6", 8", whatever it is, big behemoths. He books him like a complete idiot.
What I find weird about this as well is, from what I read, Sid is a nice guy. He was a nice guy back then as well, and he was also a legit tough guy. So he could carry himself. It's not like you would really mess with Sid. So it's not like he's a complete pushover. But for some reason, he just allows himself to just look like a div.
So the reason for this stop-start pushing of Sid is there has always been a lot of question about his commitment. He was quite famous for not showing up. He no-showed a show and went and played softball for his local softball team because he loved softball. And he got like a pretty minor back injury or something at some point. And it was clearly obvious this was like a sort of stay at home for 6-week deal. He just milked it and was just off indefinitely, I think, until they got rid of him. He was one of these guys who I think, in a sense, like wasn't really a huge mark for himself in the business. He probably wasn't. He wanted to come in, make decent money. You know, I don't think he felt like he had to put in any more effort than just turning up. And if he didn't fancy it, he wouldn't. So I think they didn't know whether to put all the chips over Psycho Sid.
I can see that, because I think he gives far too much to people he wrestles. A man like him should be protecting himself, chucking Marty Jannetty around, and he's too giving. He makes his opponents look really good by letting Jannetty get offense in, but he doesn't need to, because he's not Sid. He should just toss him around like a baby. But if we switch over to Nitro, oh my days, we have got the WCW World Title match between Randy Savage and Lex Luger. Out first is Lex with Jimmy Hart, and Lex is posing in front of some pyro, and I've just got written, I'm guessing you loved this, Sam, watching Lex flexing in front of a load of pyro.
I absolutely loved it. I was really excited. Love Lex Luger. And then the bell rang, and it just went steadily downhill.
I thought we would have been foreshadowed by, he come out, he posed, he looked great. He went to high five Jimmy Hart and couldn't do the high five. Now that to me screams this guy just what the fuck?
Botched a high five.
Yeah.
Actually, brilliant. I don't know, like, if you've ever high fived someone, especially when there's such a height difference. It's actually technically quite hard. It takes quite a lot of rehearsal. So he probably didn't get a chance to go through that high five earlier in the day. So it's probably Jimmy Hart's fault.
He was worried he's so powerful as well that he might
palm him in the face. And
he might have high-fived him with 14 pounds of pressure, snap Jimmy Hart's arm, and then blows the rest of it.
Yeah, not from a high five. It's got to bend the other way, I think, for that. Yeah.
Sam, have you found out about that yet?
What?
Why we bother?
Macho Man looked great when he came out, didn't he?
I thought Macho looked amazing. I was trying to check if he'd changed his nameplates yet from Hulk Hogan. Couldn't spot it. I was having a look. But,
I bet he hadn't, because what happened was he was backstage and he like sneakily found someone, like one of the fucking stagehands with a screwdriver. Come here. And then as he's doing it, Hulk comes in and goes, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, nothing, brother. No, you ain't changing them nameplates. Because you're only keeping that belt warm for me, brother. And he's like, no, we weren't changing them. No, it's your
What
name.
he should have done
just them up.
He should have done a Razor Ramon and got a bit of tape and just wrote Macho Man on the tape and just put it across the front of the belt.
Scrawlings of a child.
I found this match so boring that there's large chunks of it I just didn't see, because I was watching it in my lounge today on the big telly, and I literally just kept turning around, looking out the window, getting distracted by like an old lady walking past with a dog. I watched a pigeon for a little while sort of start to make a nest on top of my hedge, and then I'd look back and I'd be like, oh fuck me, the match is still going. Eric Bischoff keeps trying to tell us that this match is so big time, it's so important, and it just didn't feel it, did it? Coming from Macho Man, who arguably still to this day had one of the greatest matches in the world with Steamboat. He got a great match out of Warrior. He consistently had good matches, and he can't get anything out of Luger. And
what's that tell you, Sam? What's it tell you?
Well, it makes me think that actually
Macho shit.
Vince knew how to
carried him.
People. I think Vince could cater to people and see what. But I don't think they were getting much direction here, because I looked it up and Macho and Luger had a match in '93 in WWF at like a Coliseum home video show. It's a pretty decent match. But I don't know whether they would just said like go out and have a 10-minute match, whereas maybe in WWF their matches are a little bit more They had you'd have Pat Patterson or someone, wouldn't you, saying, right, these are the main spots. Did they just need a bit more guidance? Or do they just not give a fuck? They've got big paychecks, go out there. Has the passion gone?
I think there's a couple of important points in this that Eric keeps mentioning that if this episode goes long, they will stay with what's happening, the action in the ring. He keeps mentioning this, and I texted you two earlier in the week, didn't I? Because this episode is 10 minutes longer than your average Nitro. This is 55 minutes long rather than 45 minutes long. So this is the first time they've really gone for that extra running after Raw to get the people turning over from the end of Raw, haven't they? So I think that's one of the important things here is they want to have something big for when Raw finishes, and that's what we get towards the end. Now, the one issue we do get, this match is pretty woeful. If I go through some of the bits, we get Savage working on the arm a fair amount. They're sort of in and out. Nothing really happens. They're doing a lot of rest holds. We get Randy Savage gets blinded at one point. He gets a thumb to the eye and he starts swinging around and punches the ref, doesn't he? Which is just insane.
Yeah, and there was no real story to that. It just happened, and then it had not. Then all of a sudden, we moved on.
Yeah, we just move on from this happening. 45 minutes in, Eric Bischoff clarifies.
Hey, you want to watch wrestling or you want to watch people talk about wrestling? If you like to watch action, you're watching Nitro. The rest of it's on Gaga.
This match just endlessly goes on with not much happening. They keep talking about our upcoming triangle match in this one. There's an exposed turnbuckle spot that comes out, and we get Lex gets rammed into that for some run. We get a big elbow from Macho, and then Flair comes in for a KO with the brass knucks and struts around looking like an absolute legend. So we get the DQ finish, 18 minutes and 32 seconds.
18 minutes, I know. This was such a long match. I actually noticed this was such a long match that Macho Man's bald spot got half an inch bigger. Lex Luger missed a whole steroid cycle, and Jimmy Hart's bollocks finally dropped, all in the course of that match.
I think WCW have this habit that if they're going to put on longer matches, and I think we said like Hogan and Sting put on like a 10-minute match before, didn't we? And they seem to think if they're going to do something longer than about 5 minutes, that's just, we won't do a very high octane match. They just do a really monotone one-note match because nothing happens in this match worth noting at all.
No. And then,
you say that, but they just fill it with every spot known to man, though. The rest holds, the missing jumping off the railing, the exposed turnbuckle, the running, the brass knucks, the foreign objects.
This match could have been 10 minutes and just more action. But
I think the thing is it's like, right, Macho Man duffs in Lex, he puts him in all these holds, they go out and do stuff on the outside, then suddenly it's like, okay, Lex is just going to beat up Macho. There's no psychology to it. It's just it's filling time until,
didn't it?
Yeah, we're waiting until Raw finishes, and then we can have craziness at the end, which is, you know, after Ric Flair comes out, we get Hulk Hogan comes out to make the save. Ric Flair's kind of coming down the aisle, walking back down the aisle backwards, and he's posing, and he walks into Hulk Hogan, doesn't he? And Hulk comes in and stops the count, and that's how it all finishes.
It made me laugh when Hogan, being a gentleman that he is, hit Sting by mistake. Then he turned round and he apologised to Sting by way of shoving him. Like Sting had done, like using the way of my fist there, you idiot.
The other thing is, like, Hulk just came down and just started. He was just going to take on Lex anyway. I didn't
sticking his nose in.
Yeah, he's literally just butting his nose in on someone else's business. Gaz, you must be supporting Hogan in his actions.
Well, he's just gone, look, main event. Well, I'm not out there. I'm going out there. What's going on? He's gone up to the, you know, like. There's probably a little list on the back, and he's looking down. Where's my name on the main event? No, I'll just write it on. I'm going out there. Fuck it. Don't care. I'm off.
Hulk running.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly what it is. But I did like Sting running out, though, doing his Ricky Lake, trying to make the peace.
I will say that the match was snorefest, terrible. I don't know what they were trying to do. There's no psychology in it, meandered on. However, Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Sting, Ric Flair, loads of stuff happening. Can you imagine if you just flicked over from Raw and you put this on? I mean, you're seeing loads of superstars do mad stuff.
Oh, Christ, yeah, that's all days. The names under the sun, in it. If you want to stick some names in there, throw them all out, go for it. That's why Hogan knew. He knew, see? He was all up there thinking about it, and he's gone, get myself out there, get the viewers up.
Yeah, I had no complaints with the post-match. I mean, the match was terrible, but this is brilliant.
Oh, yeah, it was awful.
We come back after a break, and everyone's talking about wrestling in the ring, which is unusual. We've got Macho, Sting, and Hogan.
All right, take it away, Gene Okerlund.
Well, Eric Bischoff, we got to sort out a lot of things here this evening in Phoenix at America West Arena. Hulk Hogan, you come on in here. You know, you were on probation. You were on probation, and you touched another referee tonight.
Well, you know something, brother? We're not worried about no stinking probation, man. All I want to know is next week, brother, you and I, who are friends, are supposed to team up to kick Ric Flair and Arn Anderson from here and there and back again. I just want to know, what's the deal with Luger, and do you know what side you're on?
What about that jaw, Sting?
Okay, Macho Man wants me to say it straight up, and so do you, Hulkster. I am on your side.
Well, then what's going on with Lex Luger?
Lex Luger is my best friend. I don't agree with the Jimmy Hart thing going on. He's mixed up right now. I'm trying to straighten him out, and I don't have a problem with that, and neither should you. Would you run out on a friend? Would you run out on Macho Man? Let me ask you another question. Sometimes I question this man right here. He's a heck of a guy, but I question him and some of his motives. But I am not going to down the Macho Man. So why do you every single week have to down the total package?
Well, let me tell you, if we're going to backtrack, brother, digress, as some idiots may say, Macho Man is the one that warned us all about Luger in the first place.
That's right, straight up, brother. And I called it like I saw it, and I believe that, I think that I called it right up.
Okay, you think you called it like it was right straight up, but maybe Luger's fuse is just about that long, this much shorter than yours, mine, or yours. Maybe you just didn't give him the opportunity that he felt he wanted.
Oh, really? Oh, is that right?
Possibly.
All right, what he's got to say?
I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just pointing out a possible fact.
Make your point, tell me.
Wait a minute, have we got a little friction? Were we more friction than we had before?
All I can say is, Hulkster, we are going up against the Nature Boy Ric Flair, a person who I despise. And Arn Anderson, I can't stand him either. And if you and me don't get our stuff straight once and for all, we may lose the whole deal here.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. You're my friend, dude. I'm going to climb in that ring next Monday, Nitro. We're going to kick Ric Flair and Arn Anderson out of the building. Do me one favor.
What?
Keep Luger out of my face.
Seems like a reasonable request for a tag team partner.
I'm here to make one last statement, and that is I will do everything in my power to keep Luger out of your face, Macho Man, and God knows I want to keep him out of your face, Hulkster, and I'll do it.
I think that is good enough, gentlemen. We're taking a look at these two men collaborating next Monday night right here on WCW's Monday Nitro when they face Flair and Anderson. It is up in the air here in Phoenix. Eric Bischoff, let's get back to you, Mongo and the Brain.
We then end the show with Eric mentioning a lot about the triangle match and hypes next week's tag match. I've got the end promo of Sting, Macho, and Hulk just wrecks my head. It's like playground stuff of, I don't like your friend, but you don't like my friend. Why are you friends with this man? I don't.
No men really do they get into that kind of thing. The thing I took away from this is Sting was by far the strongest on the mic. He came across the most real. And so basically, he just said, Luger's my friend. We've been friends for years. I'm trying to bring him back. Yeah, I'm not thrilled about the fact that he's associated with Jimmy Hart, but I'm not just going to abandon him. We're trying to help him. But then, so that made sense. And it kind of made him look like, he sticks by his friends through, hard times. And then Hogan and Macho just go to talking in like abstract riddles again, don't they? You don't have to make everything a catchphrase and you can just say what you want to fucking say. Coming from me, that's rich, I know. But that was my observation.
Gaz, You must have loved it.
Well, I loved it because Mean Gene is such a shit stirrer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Anyone times, so what did you think about what he said about you in the back there, Sting? Oh, Hulk, did you hear what Macho said when no one was listening in the canteen? He's such a shit stirrer. I loved it.
Kind of his job, though, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah.
But you can't complain, can you? He's a little.
Why they've not got Sting doing a segment where he's doing a talk show? Still, I can't work that one out. I mean, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? Sitting with Sting, and he just brings the wrestlers out just to get whatever it is off their chest. But no, you're right. This just kind of went from one thing to another thing, back to another thing. Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to say or why. My overall take is I didn't think it was the best Nitro in the world. They have really short matches. They chuck a load of stars out there. And I kind of like it, though. I can't put my finger on it. It's sort of terrible.
It's easy watching, isn't it?
Yeah, and for some reason, stuff happens, and I just want to see what stuff's going to happen. I find Raw's like quite predictable. That look, Sir Mo's come out. I knew that's going to happen. Whereas with Nitro, you're not really sure what's going to happen. Now, most of the time, I don't understand what's happening, and it's normally Hulk Hogan sort of moaning. But I kind of still like it, weirdly.
I feel like a lot of this lies in the presentation and the detail. It just, if something looks better, therefore, by sort of perception, it is better, if that kind of makes sense. Like when Nitro starts, it just feels more big time and there's more energy. The crowd look bigger, the strobe lights. So I think you're right. Each show is equally as shit, whereas WWF still looks like it's stuck in 1992. They've got a new name to the show, but it's still in the sports hall. It's still kind of plodding along.
I think the other thing is Eric Bischoff's really good at being genuinely surprised and outraged by stuff. Now, we watched Raw, and it's Vince McMahon sort of going, do you think Mabel's going to come out? Mabel might come out in a minute. Oh, look, Mabel turns up. Whereas at least with WCW, Hulk Hogan comes out or Ric Flair comes out, and Eric Bischoff acts as if it's the craziest thing he's ever seen. And you kind of get caught up in that hype with what they do, and you go along with it.
Eric, Mongo, and Bobby are pretty much being Eric, Mongo, and Bobby. But how they speak to each other and on the show is how I'd imagine how we all know normal people just talk and interact. Jerry and Vince are so pantomime, aren't they? They're so sort of playing these characters, and everything's like sound bites. Jerry comes in for a stupid joke. Vince goes, well, I don't know about that. And it just gets tiresome.
Gaz, what's your thoughts on the show?
Yeah, I really can't say anything that's different to what you guys have said there. Apart from the nearly 20-minute main event, but God, that was a toughie. But I mean, I don't think it helps that Lex Luger cannot wrestle. Looks about $9.99, but he can't wrestle for shit. Apart from that, really, you threw all the big guys out. You had all the stars at the end. If you were turning over, as a casual viewer, and you turned off Raw and put Nitro on, and you've just come from watching King Mabel, Sir Mo, and a casket with graffiti on it, or whatever it is, to that, what are you going to want to watch?
Yeah,
next week.
You've got Hogan and Sting and Macho Man shouting at each other, and beating up Ric Flair. As a wrestling fan, I know what I want to be watching. If we switch over to Raw, we've got the ending there. We get a promo for Brett versus Backlund next week, which they've mentioned at least 1 million times already during this episode. They mentioned that Bob Backlund attacked JR and a sound man, if you didn't already know that from the other 1 million times. And then my prediction has come true because we see Dr. Jeffrey Unger, who is Shawn's physician. We get replays from that passing out moment against Owen. It's described as the longest 5 seconds in wrestling history. We hear it's post-concussion syndrome. Unger lists 1 million different things some people suffer from. Shawn obviously suffers from all of them. Shawn's current tests results are abnormal. He cannot return. Unger isn't sure when Shawn will be back, but some people never return from this. I wonder if Unger can diagnose a lost smile at any point here. We see Shawn winning the Rumble, then showing matches he's had since, and mention him getting attacked by 10 thugs in Syracuse. Will this resilience help him? No way, Jose, says Unger. The brain isn't resilient. He says Shawn has brain damage, and any additional blows to the head could kill him. Unger's final comments are Michaels isn't progressing well and maybe will never return. We then get Vince chiming in with some sad music.
In the theater of life, we tend to place public figures on a pedestal. For an elite few, we reserve the mantle of superstardom. By doing this, we separate these individuals from the rest of us, bestowing upon them superhuman qualities that may or may not even exist. We tend to think of our superstars as different from us. Superstars are bigger than we are. They're faster. They're stronger. Why, they don't even think the way we think. They don't talk the way we talk, and they certainly don't feel pain the way we feel pain. Well, Shawn Michaels has unquestionably always been the very embodiment of what superstardom is really all about. But 2 weeks ago on Raw, the facade of superstardom was smashed in an instant when Shawn Michaels collapsed to the canvas. In that frightening moment, we realized that a superstar is really just like the rest of us, a human being. They do feel pain. They're not invincible. Unquestionably, these athletes are driven by their insatiable desire to be the very best they can be. Here in the World Wrestling Federation, we cheer wildly as these superstars risk their bodies time after time, constantly taking one step closer to the edge in an effort to thrill the crowd. Well, Shawn Michaels has been living on the edge and thrilling the crowds for quite some time. Shawn Michaels wowed us into believing that he could do just about anything, because we've seen him do it. But now we find ourselves in the uncomfortable position of hoping he'll just be all right. All the while, knowing we helped push him over the edge in our unquenchable thirst for excitement. However, like anyone who totally loves what they do, Shawn Michaels can't wait to get back into the ring. And believe me, he's even more anxious to get back than we are to see him back. But unfortunately, now there's a question as to when, or even if, Shawn Michaels should return at all.
And then in true Vince style, he ultimately blames us, the fans, for this. So he sort of goes on like, and you're thinking, well, okay, you're responsible for, concussion testing, giving guys time off when they're injured, not making them work 300. And then he just sort of says, ultimately, we pushed him to, like, you, the fans, we pushed him to this. So I was like, oh, fucking great, it's my fault. 12-year-old me sitting at home, paying money to watch his show, buying T-shirts, subscribing to Sky. Fuck me, it's my fault.
You've killed your hero.
Yeah, not you, Vince. Not Shawn for being an absolute little filthy animal. It's us.
Oh, so very, very depressing, but so fucking funny at the same time.
Oh, it was kind of funny.
Oh, my God. As soon as the doctor said, I was at home watching Monday Night Raw with my wife, I thought, what a load of bollocks this is then.
Yeah.
I was sitting
so
at home
a highly
watching
paid, intelligent doctor who's done all these years, who studies the brain and everything. What are we going to watch? Raw, obviously.
I mean, I know. The thing is, Vince had a couple of things right, though, didn't he, in that? He said they don't talk like us. British Bulldog, Ahmed Johnson, says it all, doesn't it? I mean, no one knows what they're saying. But yeah, just to come away from that, I think, that's made me feel like I'm making these guys go out there and do it. Cheers, Vince, for that. What are they trying to get you to think, to feel? What's the end game with that? Is it the sympathy for Shawn?
This is what I didn't understand, is are we meant to feel sympathetic to Shawn? Because I don't feel sympathetic. I just felt like, well, a bit shit because it's my fault that this has happened. So
I think 12-year-old me in 95 would have been hooked in by this, to be fair. Because
questioning your morals.
By about the age, no, fuck that bit. By about the age of 10, 11, 12, I'm just coming to the internal realization that this probably isn't real. So I used to find any opportunity to justify to myself that it is real. I'd love all that stuff. Anything which was kind of like, oh, this isn't part of the show. So I could go to my brother, see, it's not, there's a doctor on here. It's not fake. Vince is telling us that we've all fucked all these people up. Yeah, it's not scripted at all. But basically, we've watched 45 minutes of absolute trash. And then Vince, right at the end, has given us all a spank on the arse and gone, this is all on you. See you next week.
I was really disappointed as well because I really liked Shawn Michaels collapsing in the ring. I thought this was a really good storyline. And then getting this doctor, it's like, it feels a bit like a pantomime now that you've got this doctor going, he's got every condition for post-concussion syndrome under the sun, and he's probably never going to wrestle again, boys and girls. And you're like, this felt cool and real, and it's not cool and real anymore.
I'd liked it if the doctor had like clearly fake stethoscopes around his neck, like little pink and green ones that you get out. Or he stands up at the end like that, and he's just got no trousers on, and he just goes, "See you later."
Like you podcasting.
Or you see him next week as another gimmick wrestler that Vince has.
He's a sound technician getting choked
or something. Yeah,
Bob Backlund chicken wing.
That's Dr. Unger. Oh my god!
Teaming with Clarence Mason.
It was a stinker though, wasn't it, Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And here we were saying to ourselves, luckily the worse for show, but better the podcast. Clearly not true either, was it? It sucked.
I keep saying it's meant to be light entertainment, but it's really hard to drag any light entertainment out of this episode. I mean,
I blame it on me being sober.
Yeah, I blame you for most things, Sam, when this goes wrong.
Well, so does Vince McMahon. So,
Sam, have you got any ratings for us this week?
I have indeed. Raw got 2.6 and Nitro was a 2.4.
It's still kind of neck and neck, aren't we? There's not much
Nothing
in it.
No.
Shall we plough on with our pops and flops from Raw and Nitro? What are you popping and flopping for, Sam, on Raw?
Well, it was like really having to dig deep here. So it was Bob Holly and British Bulldog. It was I would say barely a pop, maybe just a, hey, this is all right. Sort of like a...
You tolerated
because it started, the match had good energy. Clearly Bob Holly had a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. He'd got a match on TV against a big established star, and he was trying to, get a good match. And it wasn't bad. That's the best you can hope for here.
What was your flop?
For Shawn Michaels, snooze fest. I hate it. It's so self-indulgent and whatever. It's not self-indulgent because it's not Shawn doing it, is it? But it's horrible.
It's self-indulgent for Vince, isn't it?
It's a love letter to Shawn from Vince, isn't it? About how resilient and I love you, Shawn. Yeah.
It would be like if I eventually drunk myself into some kind of absolute mental health stupor and couldn't be on the show for the next 6 weeks. But instead of going, right, Sam can't be here, he's got some issues he needs to sort out. Gaz, who's here every week, putting in the work. Dave's just doing this sort of, Sam, he was the star of the show, and here he... Maybe this is the listener's fault because you put so much pressure on him to beef. And Gaz is here like, hello, I'm like, behave it. Well, we can only hope one day he'll return and save this show. And this is.
But he may never return. So.
Yeah. Gaz is there like the Bret Hart, just with his little
pink glasses and a leather jacket on, crying.
But your mum
slapping his mum.
What about me?
Coat. Don't build a coat, do you? But
build a coat. It's good when the highlight of the episode is talking about building a coat, isn't it? So, Gaz, what about you? What was you popping and flopping for on Raw?
This week, I popped for Mr. Bob Backlund and his cross-faced chicken wing rampage.
Someone had to. Yeah, best part. Yeah, I can see that. What was your flop? Mm-hmm. I wonder what that's going to be.
My flop was Vince telling me I nearly killed Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, it don't sit right somehow, does it? For me, my flop exactly the same. It was Vince telling me that I'm responsible for Shawn's terrible life choices for some reason. And my pop, I totally forgot to do a pop, so I had to read through my notes because I thought I'd read through, because I normally put a note pop on my notes when something good happened, and I hadn't done that. So I'm going to go with Razor's Edge on Dean Douglas because I like the Razor's Edge. That's as good as it gets.
I've literally just wrote my pop and flop down 5 minutes ago. I just save it because I can never find anything.
No,
I enjoy very little in life. So.
ain't that the trick? And what about Nitro, Sam? What was you popping for and flopping for on Nitro?
Before we do that, can I just? I want to start a movement here. So, if there's anyone listening to this show who watched WWF in 1995, can we all tweet Shawn Michaels an apology for what we done to him? I want to see if we can get like at least 500 tweets to Shawn Michaels, a sincere, I didn't realise I was pushing you too far, This is what it's come to, and I'm really sorry. I'm glad you're better now.
You lost.
I'm just going to tweet him and just say, "I'm sorry, I love you."
Yeah.
What was it like banging Sunny? Could you still smell Brett on her?
How's Sarah Hughes doing?
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, my pop for Nitro was just for general opening, the bang of a show, the production, the energy that came along with it. And included in that would be the opening tag match of Harlem Heats and those two lovely young boys.
Oh, I like my American males.
I bet you do.
And what was you flopping for?
Savage Luger. Because something like that should really deliver, shouldn't it? Savage Luger. It had some lofty heights to stand up to, didn't it? And it was just 18 minutes of hugging and sweating. Couldn't stand it.
It's pretty much wrestling.
Should I flop to something else? I don't know.
No, you flop for what you like. I can't tell you what you flop for, Sam. That's your own thoughts.
We all flop to our own beat.
Exactly. Gaz, what did you pop and flop for?
So I flopped this week for Lex Luger. He's got no charisma, no character, no wrestling skill, no hope.
Oh, poor Lex. Sam's fuming.
You should send an apology to Lex Luger after saying that.
No, you're right.
What did you pop for?
Well, I was going to pop for Sting, forgetting that he was meant to be wrestling, turning around and his entrance music kicking in. I go, oh, shit, it's me. But I'm going to go for Scott Norton giving the Giant a big old atomic drop.
That was second on my pop list. That was so close to winning it. But yeah, that was incredible because it's incredible strength, isn't it? And it just it's not there. So for me, my pop was Ric Flair strutting after he hit Macho Man with the brass knucks because it's just Ric Flair being like dickhead Ric Flair. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. Ace stuff. My flop was just the final promo. I get so bored of this schoolyard. I don't like your mate. You don't like my mate. Keep my mate out of your face, mate, brother, mate. Not for me. So currently Nitro lead 25-11. For me, it's odd as I text you about this saying both shows are pretty rubbish. The wrestling isn't great. The promos aren't great on each show. But for some reason, Raw is just a bit of a slog, and Nitro I just like. So for me, because Raw is really dull and paint by numbers and stuff happens that I expect, I'm going with Nitro because it's just mad and mental. So 26-11 for Nitro. Gaz, what about you?
Well, to echo what you've just said there, David, I've got to go with Nitro. It was crazy, but it was an easier watch than Raw was this week.
Yeah, 27-11. Sam, what are you going for? Raw or Nitro?
Nitro, purely based on cosmetics and presentation. Basically, they were both a shit pie, but one of them...
You got to try and get this food thing over, ain't you?
Than the other. Yeah, maybe I've got some sort of problem with food. One was just presented as a shit pie. The other had a nice bit of, butter icing on it and maybe some sprinkles. It still tasted like shit, but it just
slightly more palatable shit.
Exactly.
Excellent.
You are listening to the Monday Night Chores podcast. Dig it.
Listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or any generic podcast app. If you like us, tell us why, and give us a 5-star review on iTunes. A 5-star rating, I should say.
Okie dokie. Right, you can find us on Facebook at Monday Night Chores Podcast. We're also on Twitter at Monday Night Chores. We're on the Instagram, Monday_Night_Chores. And we're also on TikTok at Monday Night Chores.
That is another episode in the bag, and we are so pleased that everyone sticks around to listen to us. It's not been the best one this time, lads, has it? It's been a slog of a watch, and I feel that's coming over. We're coming to the good stuff. We're hitting the heady heights soon, aren't we?
Yeah, let's do an Eric Bischoff. Just keep watching, please. Stick with us.
It'll get good. We know we're bad, but it's going to get better. So, until next time, I've been your host, Dave Mack, and it is a goodbye from Gareth Wadland.
I'm off to check on the mongoose I've left in that packet of Scampi and lemon knickknacks.
Sam's like, what the shit are you talking about? Because he didn't watch it. And a see you later from Sam Wakefield.
Au revoir, motherfuckers.
Excellent.
That's French for goodbye. Sorry.
You don't know French.
Read it on Google.
You can't read.
No, I've got the thing where you just press the button. I speak into it. What's good? Anyway, move on.
Stephen Hawkins.
That's me. Reincarnate.
Until next time, it is UK Wrestling Podcasting for Life. Bye.
I lost my fucking point halfway through there.